Today, I'd like to talk about Thanksgiving, which is, of course, coming up tomorrow, very soon. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Hope that you're, celebrating or whatever, or if you're not, you're having a good time. I'm just going to make a little turkey breast and mashed potatoes, keep it simple. But the reason I wanted to bring this up is because, of course, at the last minute, we have to have a barrage of news stories saying that Thanksgiving dinner is historically affordable this year. Farm data, now this is important. Farm data shows holiday meal staples are collectively at their cheapest after adjusting for inflation in nearly 40 years. Now, obviously, we all know this is wrong, and I don't want to make this video too long. It's Thanksgiving, but I am going to talk a lot about it. I keep saying I don't want to make a video too long, and then I end up talking a lot about it. So I'm just going to go on and kind of read this step by step and go through it with you. You may not know, the first line is so insulting. You may not know it by looking at sticker prices in grocery aisles, but Thanksgiving dinner is more affordable than it has been in years. So the opening statement of this news story on NBC News is basically saying, hey, you may not see these, that the prices are cheaper, but we promise you they are. Immediate gaslighting right off the bat, first line. The cost of this year's holiday feast estimated at 58. Now this is funny. Estimated at 58.08 for a 10-person gathering, or 581 a head, dropped 5% since last year, the lowest level since 2021, according to a nationwide survey of grocery prices by the American Farm Bureau Federation, which represents millions of U.S. farmers. But the picture improves further when adjusted for inflation. Now, when you actually click through to this is first of all, you have to understand that the whole news story is based off of a survey that's not reliable at all. This survey is done again by the American Farm Bureau Federation, which is a federation that represents millions of farmers, right? They paid a bunch of economists to put this out. They pay them to do it every year, right? And you'd be surprised to find out that the things that farmers are like putting out, like whole food prices, like green beans and stuff, and sweet potatoes are a little bit down, and processed foods are up. That's what the farmers have concluded by basically picking and choosing their own information. First of all, their methodology is they have volunteer shoppers in all 50 states survey prices since 1986. And they survey prices on turkey, cube stuffing, sweet potatoes, dinner rolls, frozen peas, fresh cranberries, celeries, carrots, pumpkin pie mix and crust, whipping cream, and whole milk. Now, I don't know about you, but I feel like that's not enough for 10 people. Like, their meal for 10 people is utterly ridiculous. Here it is, right here. Turkey, 16 pounds, fine, that makes sense. 12 ounces of cranberries, so not everybody's going to get cranberry sauce. 3 pounds of sweet potatoes, not regular potatoes, mind you, sweet potatoes, so we don't want mashed potatoes, we want sweet potatoes. Carrots and celery, which I'm assuming are for the stuffing. A pie shell, two pie shells, and one thing of pumpkin pie mix. So you're gonna have two skimpy pies with some whipping cream and some stuffing, and then green peas. 16 ounces of green peas split between 10 people. So you're telling me you're going to split one cube stuffing, which is mixed with the carrots and celery, right? So you're maybe getting 2 pounds of stuffing at the end between 10 people. It just doesn't make sense. Like, the whole methodology, first of all, does not make sense. This couldn't feed 10 people, and no way on earth. It's just so unrealistic right off the bat. As soon as you see it, you know that these aren't real, like, statistics. It's like, where are they coming from? And they don't really say. They just say, for a week each year, we have volunteers do this. That's all they say. They don't say how many volunteers. They don't say where they are, what demographic they're in, whether it's a expensive area or a cheap area. I'd imagine that they can pick and choose because they're getting the data. That's the whole point. Let's see. Let me get to some of my other favorites. Most ingredients, here we go. Most ingredients in our survey decreased in price, including fresh vegetables and the centerpiece of our Thanksgiving table, the turkey. Overall price volatility in vegetables pulled fresh vegetable prices down, including those on celery and carrot relish tray, whatever that means. Favorable weather conditions for dairy cows and feedstuffs led to a 14% decrease in the price of a gallon of whole milk. It's important to note that milk prices vary, no shit. The largest increases in your Thanksgiving dinner bill this year came from processed products. Dinner rolls and cube stuffing both increased a lot. Blah, blah, blah. Fresh cranberries had the next largest increase. Blah, blah, blah. Let's see. Yeah, okay. They say in the West, it's gonna look at this breakdown. This is funny. Like this is no like I can't even break down how much this is not real, even for like a family of four. Like even my family of five, if we had nobody over, it was just me and my family of five. I don't think we could pull a Thanksgiving dinner off for 67.05. I personally I just bought the freaking small turkey, mashed potatoes, and stuffing, and I had to get butter and milk and eggs, of course, to go with it. Because that's the other thing. None of these things include butter, eggs, milk. I mean, this one does include milk, but it doesn't include butter, doesn't include any spices, doesn't include eggs, which you're going to need. It doesn't include a lot of the actual pantry staples that you're going to need to go with it to make these meals, obviously, because why would they? But this is funny. They're trying to break it down that on the West Coast you're paying $10 more than in the South, which is not true. You're probably paying a lot more than $10 more than in the South. I know I'm not paying. I'm in the South. I'm in Texas, and I paid more than this for my small meal for basically me and my two family members. I paid basically, I think my total at Walmart was like 60 something dollars, which to be fair is about in line. But I got a small turkey breast and instant mashed potatoes that were very cheap, and cube stuffing that was very cheap. I didn't actually get too much for that $67. Now, again, I don't want to shit on the farmers too much, but this is the point I'm trying to make: is this news story came out from them. It's pushed by them. It's it's propaganda essentially for the Farm Bureau to say, hey, we're important, which they are, and they're also trying to say, hey, it's not our fault that Thanksgiving dinner is more expensive, because that's the key. They're saying that their prices are down, that farmers need help. That's what they end it with: the cost of food and how farmers need more help, which is fine. But they have an agenda, so to speak. That's all I'm trying to say. And they're going to try to make their stuff look cheaper than it is. This is not realistic at all. This is just insane. And then we have the NBC News story, which is where it gets worse, because you have this put out, and it should be obvious to anybody with a journalism degree, I would assume, that this is complete, horseshit, and that it's all like the sunny side, and that you would need to do a little investigation on this, and not just take it at face value. But they don't. That's the key, is that most news outfits, including NBC News, don't actually look at anything. They just take the key talking points, rearrange them, and put them in an article. And that's essentially what they did here, without much actual turnabout on it. So here we go. This is how they spin it. Many shoppers understandably focus on price levels, the dollar value of things they buy, rather than those purchases inflation adjusted or real costs. The latter is the true test of affordability, since it reflects an often underappreciated a piece of the inflation puzzle: wage inflation, which is not underappreciated. That's the key. I think most people know this by now, that their wages have not kept up. But right here it says, and indeed, while Thanksgiving food prices are up 19%, okay, they're up 19% since 2019, according to the American Farm Bureau, the same people. Federal median wages show that they grow 25%, which I don't know about you, but my wages have not grown up 25% in the past 4 years. What's more, the average American also has to work fewer hours to buy the same meal than in previous years. Wages continue to grow faster following the COVID-19 pandemic, even as inflation cooled. Because wages rose 4% from 2023 to 2024, it took 9% less work time for us to pay for this year's Thanksgiving dinner. Who are you? Like, why is this? That's why this report, pisses me off, because it feels so like you're being talked down to. Like, look, you guys, you worked less hours this year to pay for your Thanksgiving dinner, which is just not true. It's a complete fabrication. It's a complete lie for a vast amount of people. Wages may have grown for the top, but they have not grown for the bottom. That's the important part, but they never mention that stuff. Oh, wait, hold on. They're going to throw us a bone here. Of course, pay gains haven't boosted all workers evenly, and long-term expenses like housing costs and childcare continue to squeeze. While consumer confidence has jumped, which I don't see how that happened, still, the ABF report says, even with the decreasing purchasing power of the dollar, some of the goods in our basket are at their long-term lowest price, even in terms of their current dollar price, which is not, I mean, this is how they get you, because they're saying based on their inflation numbers, which, could be different from other people's numbers, but based on their inflation numbers, you're technically paying less than you would if this was priced, differently in 1989. They're taking their numbers and saying technically on a dollar to dollar level, as a U.S. consumer, the food is cheaper, but the fact of the matter is it's more expensive for 85% of people living on the earth, or living in America at least. Let's see, what else was I mad about? These affordability gains are good news for inflationary weary shoppers, many of whom are increasingly focused on value this year. Major consumer brands have been chasing bargain-hungry customers with price cuts and promotions, which they haven't been doing as good of a job as I'd like, to be honest. The wave of discounting has become more competitive heading into the holidays, and grocery retailers are no exception. Food eaten at home was just 1.1% pricier last month than the same time last year, compared with the 2.6% average run-up in consumer prices overall. So they're saying that technically they only raised their prices 1.1% month to month. Look, food eaten at home was just 1.1% pricier last month than the same time last year. Okay, so they're saying it's just 1.1% more, technically, the food costs than they were last year. But other things are up 2.6%. But again, this is averages. They're using these averages specifically because it lets them avoid the actual tough issues. Both Target and Aldi rolled out Thanksgiving deals. I wanted to talk about this because these are all terrible, and they miss things. Like the Aldi one, you're not going to feed 10 people, blah, blah, blah. The Target one, I picked up specifically because it's so horrible. Target's Thanksgiving meal is back and $5 less than last year, serving 4 people for $20. So what do you think a 4-person Thanksgiving meal includes for $20? Let's find out. The $20 Thanksgiving meal includes everything consumers need for a traditional Thanksgiving feast that serves 4, which can easily be doubled to serve 8. Okay, here we go. Good & Gather, premium basted young turkey frozen up to 10 pounds. Fine, that makes sense. Good & Gather russet potatoes, 5 pounds. Okay, but we're going to need butter, and we're going to need salt to make this work, but that's not included in here. That's interesting. Del Monte cut green beans. All right. Campbell's cream and mushroom soup. Interesting. I'm guessing that's supposed to go with the green beans. 1 can of cranberry sauce, 1 box of stovetop stuffing, and 1 small jar of turkey gravy. This is not a Thanksgiving feast. And what you're asking is, first of all, you have 5 pounds of potatoes. So if somebody buys this, they can't actually make mashed potatoes because they'll have no butter or milk or cream or anything. So this is disingenuous right off the bat. You can argue that the green beans can be served as they are. Perhaps the most infuriating thing about this one, and the reason I wanted to point it out, is they give you a can of cream and mushroom soup with the green beans, but they don't actually give you fried onions, which is the most expensive part of a green bean casserole, because green beans, a can of green beans is like $1. Campbell's cream and mushroom soup is like $1 or $1.25. It's the fried onions that cost the most money. That's like the $4 or $5 cost. But they don't include those, but they do include the cream and mushroom soup. So they want you to make, I guess they want you to make a green bean casserole without the onions, which seems like it would be dog shit. And then you got some stuffing with some shitty gravy and cranberry sauce. So if you buy this meal, you're getting a turkey, 5 pounds of potatoes that you can't mash, a green bean casserole without the fried onions, a can of cranberry sauce, stovetop box stuffing mix, and shitty ass turkey gravy, because the jar turkey gravy sucks ass. So yeah, for $20 you can get not a meal at all at Target. That shit is just so annoying. All right, so this guy, head of well, oh yeah, this is another interesting thing. I would just advise consumers to take a look at what those meals are comprised of, said Robin Wenzel, head of Wells Fargo Agri-Food Institute, which I didn't know existed, but that's nice. Don't be afraid to check out multiple retailers. So why are they asking a guy at Wells Fargo's Agri-Food Institute? I don't know. Some Thanksgiving meal packages offer more ingredients, but that can mean preparing from scratch. Others have fewer, blah, blah, blah. Yes, exactly. Like that one, you can't prepare from scratch because it doesn't actually include everything you need to prepare from scratch. One cost-saving strategy is to buy more stores' own private label brands, which can save shoppers $17 on a Thanksgiving menu for $10, according to Wells Fargo. Oh, this is why he's here. According to Wells Fargo's Agri-Food Institute. Experts at Consumer Reports also recommend enrolling in supermarket loyalty and cashback programs for extra savings, which often come with conveniences such as virtual coupons within the store's app. Ultimately, how much people pay for Thanksgiving dinner will also depend on geography. Homes in the West, the priciest region, will spend about 18% more on average. Okay, so they end it with, you can save money by buying private labels, and Wells Fargo expert telling us to enroll in supermarket loyalty programs and that they have virtual coupons which are a convenience to us, which is just a complete falsehood. They're basically saying, okay, well, one way you can get around it is to maybe download our app and use our coupons, which, first of all, no, that doesn't work for a lot of grocery stores. Some do, some don't. Second of all, I don't want to have to sign up for an app for everything. Everything shouldn't have a loyalty program. And third of all, it's fucking Thanksgiving dinner. It should be simple. It's the fact that you have to look at all these different packages to figure out what you're missing kind of ruins the point of a package. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't make sense at all for me, any of these things, because everybody knows if you go to buy that Target thing, you're going to have to buy milk and cream and butter. You're going to have to buy other things. You always have to buy other things. The meal is never what it says in terms of cost per person. It's all bullshit. And it's funny that they link to this Consumer Reports thing, which is hilariously out of touch. And, you know, I like Consumer Reports. They're very good in terms of their product reviews. But this article is fucking horrible. And it's basically them pushing private labels and reward programs and things like that, and basically glazing supermarkets for doing things like rewards programs, which is just, who gives a shit? It's fucking annoyance, honestly. And then saying, oh, look at these, yeah, at Publix you can get cookies or whatever, this shit. HEB has bakeries, that's true, but that's it. This is just a Glaze article about how you can save big at the supermarket, which you don't. There's nothing in here that will save you big. There's no secret in here. There's no tip. There's nothing. It's just sign up for the rewards program and use coupons, which everybody does already if they want to, or they don't. If they're not a coupon person, then they don't do it. That's it. It's very simple. There's nothing in this fucking long-ass article that actually helps anybody. It's just a waste of everybody's time. And then I ended up with this final Reddit post, which I wanted to go over. The cost of grocery prices, actually, this was done by the Wall Street Journal. I don't have a Wall Street Journal subscription, so we're here stealing it off of Reddit. This is one of their pictures of a grocery order from 2019, which this seems fairly right to me. $2.73 for milk, $2.36 for eggs. Frozen meal for $2.77, frozen pizza for $3.77, bread for $2.45. That seems about right. Then you go over to the next one. This is how much they've increased on average to 2024. We've got plus 52 cents for milk, plus 148 for eggs, plus 94 cents for chicken, plus 84 cents for bread, plus 99 cents for the frozen meal, plus 283 for the laundry soap. You can see how much things have gone up. 36% essentially is what the price has gone up. And this is what the $100 grocery bill would look like today. If you only had $100, you would have to get rid of all these items to be able to get this basket, essentially, which is horrible. And that's the actual information. This is the actual price information that you want. Cooking oil up 54% from 2019, beef up 51%, fruit snacks up 77%, mayo up 50%, and applesauce up 51%. And I especially want to talk about mayo because they're fucking crazy with the mayo prices. I remember, oh, I sound like an old man here, but you know, I'm a mayo guy. I use it on my sandwiches and my burgers and stuff. And you could buy mayo for like $2, you know, for a big jug. And now they really want like $7 or $8 for a big thing of mayo. It's insane. And like $5 for the small one, which is bullshit. So that's my complaint video for today about Thanksgiving prices. Your Thanksgiving dinner is not historically affordable this year. It's complete bullshit. Just stop watching all these news programs and do your own research. That's my suggestion. Or just ignore them and don't do your own research, but know that they're probably lying. So, yeah, that's that. And I'll see you all next time.